Friends, welcome to Through Literary Lens. I am Rajesh, Raqeeb, along with Dr. Vinod, Asudani. We both welcome you all.
Thank you, Rajesh, uh, for this new episode of Through Literary Lens.
Recently, Vinodji, we have celebrated birth anniversary of our great artist,
No,
Ravindranath Tagore.
the only Nobel laureate in literature for India so far.
And he was not only the writer, author, the poet, but he was a consummate artist. As on one of our episodes, we have delved deeper into this, Ravindranath as a composite artist. So, today, which aspect of his art are you going to lay before our audience, Vinodji?
Today we will look at one of his highly acclaimed stories.
Mm-hmm.
It is The Postmaster.
Oh, very small but very poignant, very delicate story indeed.
I'm sure that this story deserves a place in the anthology of the best stories of the world.
Yeah, definitely. Otherwise, what happens in the great work of his, we tend to ignore such a small piece. But no, it has been prescribed in various syllabi of schools and colleges. But many a times people just overlook it as a trifle, but it's not. It's a great
And
story.
Ravindranath comes before us as a great creative artist.
Hmm.
There is a difference between writer and a
And a
creative
creator,
artist.
yes.
The plot of the story is simple, but the shades of the meaning to which the story hints at are deep and profound.
It would be even, injustice to paraphrase the plot even because it is written in poetic prose. A very
Yes.
delicately woven story. Language, the ambience, the atmosphere, the symbols, the characters, everything is delicate here.
Blending of the nature and the human aspects,
Yeah,
the abstract and the concrete,
yes,
imagination and the reality.
yes.
They go hand in hand. A young man from Calcutta is posted to a small village called
Ullapur,
Ullapur.
as a postmaster.
And there he finds that the people are not that much educated, and therefore he does not find anyone with whom he can communicate on the equal footing. Throughout the day he works in the office,
Yes.
and in the evenings he finds himself quite lost and lonely.
There are workers in the indigo factory, but he can hardly converse with them, maybe due to class difference, due to different in their occupation. So he is a lonely soul there.
And then he finds connection by conversing with a domestic servant, you can call.
Yeah,
a
she's an
young girl,
orphan village girl,
Ratan.
Ratan.
She's there, she cooks for him, she does all the household chores that make his life a little comfortable in that remote village.
And usually in the evenings, after the work is over, he lays in his quarters, and he calls her. She's waiting for the call, and she hesitantly, reluctantly, gingerly enters his quarters and talks to him. She addresses him as Dada. So did you call me Dada?
Yes, and until unless he does not call her out, she does not come in his room.
Yeah.
This is very important.
Yes.
Very shy, very delicate, and very cultured girl Ratan is, right?
Yes.
And then this postmaster engages her in the conversation.
Conversation.
He encourages her to speak about her childhood memory, about her mother, father, about her village,
Yeah.
and the small boy.
More
small
than mother, she
brother.
remembers her father, her little brother. Very mistily, very vaguely, her memories of early childhood, and naturally, they are very, vague and not very
And
precise.
as postmaster goes on encouraging her, those memories slowly
Slowly,
but come down into her
yes,
mind.
they dawn in her heart and mind. And conversely, he also shares his reminiscences of his city life, mother, sister, right?
And one very important sentence, Rajesh, that comes from the pen of Tagore.
Yeah.
Ratan listens
Yeah.
to a postmaster with such an attention
Ah.
that all the family members whom she has not seen, but she feels as if she knows them, as if
Correct.
she knows master's sister,
And she
master's
also calls them mother
mother.
and sister. She also calls them like this.
And from this point, story
The,
takes to the new level.
the human bond which is established between Ratan and postmaster. And Vinodji, as they call it, our near and dear ones are those with whom we can converse freely and not carefully.
And another very important thing that needs to be understood, so far as the beauty of the human relations is concerned, you need to enter the world of others
Yes.
through the doors of emotion and imagination,
Yes.
and only then you will be able to understand other person. Only then the true human connect is established. The specialty of this story is cutting across all the differences of gender, education,
Age.
age, urban rural
And
divide.
divide.
Ratan and postmaster in these evening conversations become really good friends, two human beings, two souls who can converse, imparting harmony and affection to each other, disregarding all the differences that exist around.
And when you read this, you palpably feel that bond between them. It enlivens you.
And one day, Ratan does not hear call from her Dada, and reluctantly, when she steps in, she finds Dada stretched on
Yeah.
his cot.
He is ill with fever.
And as a mother, as a sister, she
Nurses
nurses him
him, yeah,
tenderly
yeah.
and with all her care. And perhaps because of her concern and care, postmaster regains his health. But this time of his sickness really frightens him so much so that he does not want to continue.
Yeah, but
here
he
in this
feels the
village.
presence of his own mother and sister, the womanhood, the womanliness in Ratan. Makes him feel that this is very important, Vinodji.
Yes.
The way Tagore describes the nursing, very few sentences, but they are really poignant sentences. And this in this age of degendering, I would call that these sentences are very, very, very much important. It's not that women have their own qualities, nursing,
And, yes.
care, tenderness.
And women should be proud of this quality of tenderness, this care and concern which comes naturally to them. Right?
Yeah.
It has to be nurtured, these
Yeah.
qualities, rather than in the name of gender equality, if they try to imitate the ways of the main folk.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be a great loss. to
Rather,
humanity.
men should also try to cultivate these womanly qualities.
Is it?
Because why do we look at the equality from this lens that women have to equal men? Men have also to equal women.
Yes, so there are many qualities that men need to borrow
Yeah.
from women. And then postmaster somehow,
He also teaches reading to her
Reading,
in between. Yeah.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
afternoon he yearns for company of somebody whom he could pour his love upon, and he remembers her. He calls her. She comes and he tries to teach her reading. She learns also. She reaches double consonants.
although this is
Yeah.
not the main concern
Yeah.
of the story,
Yeah,
but
but-
we have to remember that
Yes.
this story was written almost a century ago.
Ago.
At that time, the girl education was not really in vogue, and Tagore, being a visionary, being a person who could see into the future, he is hinting at that the education of the woman is very important. Without this, the real empowerment will not come about. Although he does not say anything explicitly,
Yes.
but the postmaster's teaching these letters and these alphabets to Ratan. Otherwise, they do not have any place in this plot.
Yeah.
Even this activity could have been avoided, but it is very much there.
And it is also a way of saying that shared activities, any relation goes ahead, it matures, or it when you have joint shared activities.
Here you need to understand
Yes.
one important
Yeah.
aspect of psychology,
Yeah.
that however close you may be to any person,
Yeah.
simply if you are basking in the emotionality or the sentimentality,
Yeah.
that relationship will not go very far.
Yeah, it will
They-
not progress.
Yes, sharing has to be there, and sharing of the
Activities. So if only shared activity is sex, it will not matter. It will not really carry you forward.
Yeah, because in a man-woman relationship,
Yeah.
of course, here it is Ratan and
Ratan
Postmaster
and- yeah.
are not do not look at each other from that
From that
perspective.
perspective, still that gender is there.
Yes.
So just by way of aside, I said that even if suppose two people are in love with one another, romantic love, right?
Yes.
But still only shared activities, sex, that will not carry you forward.
Yes, and that is that the sex doesn't impart sustaining power to the
Yeah.
relationship.
Definitely, it is important. Nobody denies the importance of it. But
But the
there
relationship
should be,
has to be carried to the other
it
domains
should
as
be
well.
multi-dimensional shared activities across the domains. The
Yes.
more the shared activities you have, the more lively, the more powerful the relation will be.
Yeah. So coming back to the
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
now Postmaster starts applying for the transfer.
Yeah.
He longs for his home,
Yes.
for his people, for his city.
Yes.
And as his transfer application is not accepted, one day he
Resigns the job.
and tells Ratan that he'll be going home.
Now here, I think the story reaches its climax, Vinodji.
And in the beginning, Ratan doesn't understand. Going home,
Yeah.
she asks, when
Yeah.
when will you come back?
He said, I will not come back. As a matter of fact, yeah. Then she doesn't inquire anything else. But she says one thing, Dada, will you take me along to your home?
And he says, this is...
What an idea.
What an idea.
He laughs at
Laughs
it.
at. And this,
So,
what an idea.
that sticks in
these
her
words
mind.
or echo of these words continue to haunt Ratan throughout that night.
Yes.
But she is a woman, caring woman, a woman with a concern and a mysterious affection for her Dada. And before he is up in the morning, she fetches the water, she cooks the meal, because she does not know at what
of
time he
his
will set out for
departure.
home.
Yeah. And she doesn't inquire because see, these are the hard facts. The time of departure, when he'll be going away. No, human mind, human heart tries to shrink from these hard realities. And it's not avoidance, it's delicacy.
And then he gives almost 1 month's salary to her, saying that it will help her. But she says, no,
She
don't
doesn't,
give me anything, don't trouble me.
He says, my successor will take care of you. And at this juncture, she bursts into weeping. Because this is the ultimate, she can't bear it.
And she said, don't tell anything about me to the successor. Now,
Yeah.
here one thing is to be
Yeah.
understood.
Yeah.
It is not that this postmaster takes care of her and that is why she wants him to be there.
No.
It is not that she will be okay if you tell some other person who comes as a next postmaster, if he also starts taking my care, the things will be perfectly all right. It is not like that.
Vinodji, love is not transpersonal. Many people commit this fallacy.
Yes.
That they say one or other, while marrying also, X or Y or Z or whatever. But no, not at all. It is not transpersonal.
But affection in any relationship is not transferable.
It's not transferable. It's
Because
not
Dada
transpersonal.
will not be substituted by successor
No,
postmaster.
No, you can't indulge in algebraic thinking here that X, if not X, then Y. No.
Therefore, human beings are different from the machines. And this fact, which Tagore hints at 100 years ago, has become more relevant today when we are trying to reduce human beings and human actions and relationships to the gimmicks of the machines.
Yeah. You get the dating algorithms and matchmaking algorithms, and they will match your everything. And I mean, it's absurd.
And now postmaster departs, right? He goes in a ship to Calcutta and there is a rain, and in the middle of the journey a flickering thought comes to his mind, if I can go back and fetch Ratan along, but now it is too late.
Because he looks at the rising waters of the river and he feels that Mother Earth herself is weeping and Ratan is weeping. So entire nature is weeping, and she is wandering around that hut in the village.
And the postmaster is an educated young man. he is able to find refuge in philosophy.
Philosophical reflections, philosophical
He says
speculations.
multiple meetings and partings take place every day in the world, and we are helpless. We cannot do anything, and that is how he tries to, you know,
Get rid of
get
this
rid
agony.
of this agony or this conflict.
Whereas Ratan has no such philosophical consolation
There is a hope lurking in her
in
mind.
her mind that perhaps my Dada will take me along. And then poet beautifully Tagore explains that this is the fate of human beings. Hope lurks along. It disbelieves the strongest of the evidence to the contrary.
And he says the reason takes long time to assert itself. But in spite of that, before reason kills hope, hope keeps human beings alive. And hope never departs. It comes back intermittently. Although gradually Ratan learns this hard lesson, bitter lesson that her Dada is not going to come back. But what about hope?
But again, we commit the same mistakes or whatever you call of irrationality or hope springs ahead. I remember one of my couplets in Hindi, Vinod ji. It goes like, टूट कर जो बन सके फिर वो सरल विश्वास होना.
Yes.
So if it breaks down again, it springs forth. You are like that simple faith.
Now, I would like to draw your attention to one sentence
Yeah,
that comes in the story itself.
Yeah.
And I want your special comments.
Ji.
Tagore says, inscrutable are the ways of the
Woman's heart. Yeah. Now, here, Vinod ji, it's a very famous sentence. Very famous sentence. It has been employed even against women many a times. But as we should realize that human heart itself is mysterious, be it a woman's heart or a man's heart, it is mysterious because it's not like A leading to B, B leading to C, C leading to D. And when a particularly woman's heart becomes much more mysterious because of the 2-3 things I think. Number one, Tagore was a man. Any man, because gender is very important in such matters at least. So we can't really know the workings of the mind and heart of the other gender. We can't simply dissect like the body. We can dissect and know that this is okay. These are the differences between the sexes, bodily differences. But psychological differences are much more subtler. So number one, human mind or heart is itself mysterious. Human thoughts and emotions are mysterious. Number two, women, as men, we are at a loss really to fully understand or comprehend a woman's working of heart and mind. Thirdly, it is futile. I feel it is futile to know any other person in this world in the rational sense. That now he or she is thinking this in the evening, therefore he or she will do this. No. Such knowledge about human psychology doesn't operate like physics.
It's very interesting. What you are saying is very interesting. Can I say, in general, men's mind are analytical.
Maybe, yes.
And they are philosophical sometimes.
Yes.
Whereas the woman's mind is mysterious and imaginative. Or they are synthetic. They bring the things together. And man tries to dissect, analyze, and tries to find some rational way out. Whereas woman is not out there to find the solution to the problem. But she is simply charmed by the mystery of the problem.
Yes. And she is much more affected by the emotional currents and undercurrents than a man in general. Yeah.
So perhaps here Tagore is referring to this mystical element that dwells more in the mind and heart of female gender than it is there in the men. Of course,
as George Bernard Shaw says, women are willing vehicles of life force.
Yes.
So they don't indulge. I mean, as in general we are talking.
Yes.
It's not like hard and fast.
No, because we have to remember Carl Jung, where the feminine and masculine elements both are there.
Both are there in every person.
Only the degree is different.
So our emotional, intuitive nature may be regarded as feminine, and our analytic, rational, and step-by-step nature may be regarded as masculine.
So we conclude on this note that
And
by reading this,
because see, yeah, this sentence itself, it occurs in the context that Ratan had borne the many scoldings of the postmaster and without any murmur.
Yes.
But this sentence, that what an idea,
What an
that
idea.
broke her. That broke her.
Yes.
And before concluding, one or two more points, one or two more things I want to lay before our audience. First is philosophy, and Ratan had no philosophy, whereas postmaster, consoled himself philosophically.
yes,
Now, many a times it happens, of course, philosophy is the highest branch of thought, but still, when you philosophize the thing, it is reduced into abstraction, and many a times we tend to devalue the emotional and the immediate impact of
but
the
at the
things.
same time,
Yeah.
to the rest
Yeah.
of philosophy,
Yeah.
let me say that when we philosophize, at least we are able to pull ourselves from the setback or from the emotional shock.
Definitely, but then it makes the event or the person or the condition very blunt. Like here in this story itself, postmaster consoled himself. He went to his city, Calcutta, whereas this village girl Ratan kept on wandering for some time. At least she must have wandered about in the village, hoping that her dada would come. But that emotional trauma, the emotional grief, that is not philosophically consolable. Like I remember Radha or Kanupriya by Dharmavir Bharati is a wonderful poem, Kanupriya. There, Radha is the personification of the emotional intensity of her love for Kana, that is Krishna, and no philosophical consolation in the form of Gita, that duty and dharma and religion, that's all immaterial for
We
her.
look forward
Yeah.
to hear
Yeah.
the full episode
Definitely.
on this
Definitely.
Kanupriya from you,
Yeah,
because this is very interesting.
Yes.
Because going of Krishna from
Yeah.
this Vrindavan to
yeah.
Mathura
For-
is a very important journey. It is an
Yes.
archetypal journey that the person whom you love has to go someday.
Yeah, and that all is worthless for Radha. She says that what are you
Yes.
gaining by it? Yeah, and again the another aspect. Maybe it's not directly hinted at this, but urban and rural divide. City is perhaps less in urban people, urbanization.
Yes.
That is,
And that is why
Yeah.
postmaster does not feel at home in this village.
in this village.
He's not able to communicate to the people around,
Yeah.
because they belong to the different milieu, different
Yes.
environment, different background, and ultimately he wants to go back to city. Even this mysterious affection of Ratan fails to hold him
fails
back.
to hold. So maybe he symbolizes the attraction of the city towards the villages, simplicity of the villages, and they exploit the villages for their benefit, but ultimately they exploit them and go back, and urban rural divide persists. शहर बसें आकर गाँव में, गाँव बेचारे जाएं किधर, जानिसार अख्तर said.
That's wonderful.
So maybe in a way, poet has not hinted, the writer has not hinted directly at this, but this symbolism also can be inferred from this story.
And this is the greatness of the writer, when such a small story lends itself
Yeah.
to so many interpretations. So read this story by yourself, enjoy the aesthetics and beauty of this story, The Postmaster by Ravindranath Tagore.
So thank you.